All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, all honor, and all glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waharakah Kodash. Want to give double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations and many blessings to your elect Akim across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. And just want to say, as here rolling on my way to work, it was in my spirit to go into this lesson. Been kind of meditating on it for the past day or so, just kind of figuring out how to really put it together. But ultimately, it really depends on the spirit and how the spirit wants it to be put together. You know, so as I'm doing this lesson, what inspired me to do it was as I was looking at the news and just looking at the weather down here in Dallas, Texas, and I'm pretty sure the weather's pretty crazy in other hot regions in the country. But this is record-breaking heat. Once you look at it, all week was 105 plus. Even Saturday it reached, Friday even it reached 109, and I believe Thursday reached 110 to 113, something like that. Then when you look at it on the news, it's supposed to be like this all week for the next few days. And really, we don't experience things like this. This is a rare phenomenon, even though we know it gets hot, it gets cold. But things are reaching record levels right now. So as I was really just looking at it like that, just meditating on it, really ultimately, man, I believe this is a sign from Yahweh Shai telling us things are finna start heating up more. And as we seen it, as the brothers on our Tuesday camp was going in, that Edomite had pulled the strap out while he was walking away. And also too, even our Friday camp, it was an Edomite that tried to bum rush out of nowhere, and the brother Kadar yoked him off. You know, pretty much. Expect things to get more heated up as we're at camp in our daily lives. We see how Satan's trying to mess with us mentally more. You know, a lot of things are happening to the point where things are heating up. And with the heat being this hot, even the Lord's looking at it like, what else do you need me to show you? All right, things are heating up. It's time to be uncomfortable. We're in the time right now where we're not supposed to just be comfortable. You know, now granted, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have certain chill time here and there. That's not what I mean. In this truth, I mean. All right, of course, we have the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit. But as we're here sojourning here in the land of our captivity, going through these things that we're going through, being afflicted, the Lord is, and this is something that's been brought up quite a few times. But Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai wants us to get uncomfortable to the point where all we have to do is recall in His name. All right, we'll be more obligated to call in His name. All right, we'll have more opportunity. Take this as an opportunity. Okay? Again, we see the sun is out. It's extremely hot. Things are going to start revving up. And expect a lot more sifting. Okay? Expect a lot more of that because it's bound to happen. That leads me to the scripture here I'm going to pull up in Matthew. Just excuse me, I'm driving, so. This is Matthew chapter 13. I'm going to start from the top. And it says, the same day went Yahweh Shai out of the house and sat by the seaside. And the great multitude were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and fowls came and devoured them. All right, I'm going to just keep reading it, and Yahweh shall break it down. Okay? Some fell in stony places, where they had much earth, and forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of the earth. Now this is the key point. And when the sun was up, they were scorched because they had no root. They withered away. And some fell upon thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But others fell on the good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto them, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? And this is when he goes into, it being, well, I'm going to just read it, He said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but unto them it is not given. All right, so that goes into the secrets that Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai bestows upon us. The eyes that He had given us, these things aren't given to other people. You have 7 billion people on the planet Earth, but only this truth is given to 144,000 of those men. All right, and even more, because you got some that heard the word but didn't go to it, didn't go to their calling. Certain ones were called, just weren't chosen. At the end of the day, there's an abundance of men that had heard the voice, that had received the mysteries, but only certain few are meant to be chosen, are elected to be chosen. But ultimately, the word isn't given to everybody to understand. Okay, because when you go into it, when Yahushua was on a boat, it says he was talking, he gave this parable to a multitude of people. All right, but it was only meant for the disciples and certain select few out of that multitude to really get the gist of what Yahushua was talking about. Okay, that's why he was speaking unto them in parables. And the parable, again, pursuing to the sower and the seed. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. It says, therefore speak out to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, pursuant to Isaiah 6, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and not perceive. For this people heart is gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest they have Salakia, they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand in their heart and should be converted. Then I should heal them. So again, that what Yahushua was alluding to was the prophecy in Isaiah the 6th chapter. Going into that, they have eyes to see, but they can't see, ears to hear. This is alluding to Jake, man. All right, you go to when Isaiah was prophesying, he was prophesying the downfall of, well, pretty much, he was prophesying the coming of the kingdom of heaven, the salvation, but also too, he was cursing you Jakes out. And this is around the fall of the Assyrian Empire and around the rise of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. This is around the time Isaiah was prophesying. All right, so this is the transferring kingdoms, but you always had our people that was going off when it was in captivity. All right, and there was always a lot of hell and tribulation going on, always when a kingdom was getting ready to be translated one to another. We're witnessing that right now, but we know the next kingdom being translated to the kingdom of heaven coming. All right, but going back to the point, it says, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Okay, now let's see here. I'm going to jump down to verse 18, because now Yahushua is going to break it down. It says, hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. So now he's explaining this to the 12. And also, too, when we read this, we have to understand it. This is talking about us as well, if there were the ones that Yahushua called. Because we know he's the one, we know we're the ones that he called, but, you know, Lord willing, we're the ones that's chosen. Okay, but this is pursuing to us. This is meant for us to understand. Okay? When anyone when anyone heareth the word of the Most High of the kingdom and understand it not, then cometh the wicked one and catch the way the word, which is sown in the heart. This is which received the seed by the wayside. Okay, so that seed represents the word, and the fowl represents Satan. And Satan can be anything that comes to you, your vices, your own mindset that deceives you. These Edomites try to get you away from the word. These scoffers. You know what I'm saying? These guys that want to remix the doctrine. Now we know ultimately Satan, the devil is the so-called white man, but the spiritual demon can enter into every thought and every vessel that he wants to try to catch you away. Okay? It says, but he that received the seed into stony place, the same as he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receive it. Okay, so when you first receive this word coming up as a little child, this goes to Ezekiel when he talks about, when he gives him the roll, and he says, it shall be in thy mouth sweet, but in thy belly bitter. So the word is sweet at first. You're all excited to find out that you're an Israelite. You're excited about this, that, and the third. You know, but as soon as that bitterness hits in your stomach, you know, when that reality kicks in, that you're really actually that sacrifice that's being made, that burnt sacrifice at that, it gets uncomfortable. And that causes Jake to want to fall out, because they weren't willing to drink of that cup, pursuing to, I believe it's in Matthew the 21st chapter, or the 20th chapter. All right, going to the cup of afflictions, the things that we're going to have to receive in order to receive the kingdom of heaven, going through the straight gate, going through the fire. All right, alluding to, again, the inspiration of this lesson being as it's record-breaking heat down here in Texas for about a week straight. All right, but these things are bound to happen. Once you receive the word, you get excited. But the scripture saying in Ecclesiastes 7, better is the end of a thing than the beginning of it. Okay, so let's continue. It says, yet hath he not root in himself, but during for a while, For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. Okay, so this goes to the ones that aren't firmly rooted. Because if you plant a seed in the stony ground, it's no way it can be rooted because it has no soil to nurture it. Okay, so there's no roots that grow to the point where a wind or whatever can blow it out, or anything can pluck it up. All right, or even heat. Heat can destroy it more because it has no natural source to the life force. Okay, got excited at first. It was sown there, but it wasn't willing to catch. The roots weren't willing to dig deep. The foundation wasn't based upon a rock, but it was based upon sand. All right, and when you really go into what sand is nothing but accumulation of tiny stone particles put together. Okay, so you ain't gonna be able to plant no seed into a desert, or plant no seed into a beach. You can't plant no apple tree into a beach and watch it turn into an apple tree. It's impossible. Okay, no firm foundation. Okay, so when it continue, it says, he also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word and that has cares for the world. Okay, and we understand when you read it in James chapter 4 verse 4, it says, if you are a friend of the Most High, if you are a friend of the Most High, you should have enmity of the world. But if you're a friend of the world, the Most High shall have enmity against you, and ye shall be his enemy. Loosely paraphrasing, but it shows you how this world can get us tripped up. All right, this world can get us easily tripped up because Satan thrives off of this. Satan runs this energy. Satan put the spirit on these Edomites to control this place and make things mighty appealing, especially being here in the year 2018. Lust is at an all-time high. Greed is at an all-time high. Worldly desires is at an all-time high. And we need to continually pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that he keeps us rooted to the point where we don't get yanked out. Or a hope that we aren't those seeds that was planted in the thorny bush where the thorns choked us up, the world choked us up. You see that happening to a lot of guys. Okay, and that could happen to being in this truth for a period of time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, losing your desire, losing your fire, losing the heat, catching this hell, can't take the heat, and you end up going back to things of this world because that comforts you. But again, we're not supposed to be comfortable being down here. And Yahweh Shai would always use examples of things that was around him to elude his point, to point out the point that he was trying to make. Okay, so when you continue, that was pretty much it on that parable. But when you also go into the seed, he didn't really break that. Well, let me make sure if I didn't pass it, or I probably read over it quick because I don't want to say he didn't break it down. He broke everything down, Salakia. But what I mean is, as it went in the thorough example of the seed being amongst the stones, and a thorough example of the seeds being amongst the thorns, when you go into the example of the sun, because it talked about there was some seeds that fell in the sun had scorched it up. All right, that was the main part I wanted to tackle, because this lesson was inspired by this record-breaking heat that we're experiencing. And Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is clearly telling us that things are heating up. All right, things are heating up as the spiritual demon Satan is trying to sift us more. Things are heating up as Satan puts the spirit on these Edomites to try to attack you more. He went into persecution. All right, he went into the seeds that fell amongst the stones, and they weren't rooted, and they weren't willing to deal with the persecution. We see persecution's coming. All right, persecution is clearly coming. If you have two eyes to see, you can see that. Okay, we got to make sure that we're ready and hope that we're those seeds planted in that good soil, because that's the only way you're going to have a firm foundation. That's the only way that you're going to be able to receive the nutritions and the vitamins that are meant for the seed to grow into that plant, that well-rooted plant, that tree. Okay, and the water ultimately is his word. The seed is ultimately his word. Okay. But when you go into this parable, man, Yahweh Shai is clearly telling us we want to make sure that we receive the word and that we grow and that we increase from the word. And how do we do that? We do that through tribulation. We do that through being placed in the heat. And while we're in the heat, having that firm foundation, being well rooted, firmly rooted. Okay. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm pulling into my job. But again, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory due to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Waharakah Kodash. Want to give double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations and many blessings to your elect Akim across the four winds of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom, brothers. Shalom. Shalom. And also to you few sincere sisters out there as well.